Christina Pushaw. She is the press secretary for Florida Governor Heavy D Ron DeSantis, and she is a firebrand in her own right. Christina, we're talking a lot about the new right now, about the new right having to be more offensive. I don't really mean it in that way, but playing a lot more offense than defense. And it seems like Florida, it seems like y'all have that figured out. How'd you figure it out?
Well, I mean, I don't know that the state itself has it figured out, but our governor certainly does. So I think just the fact that we have real leadership here, that's why Florida has figured it out, because we have a governor who will stand up to whether it's the progressive left or corporate interests or really anyone from pressure from anywhere to stand for individual rights.
Speaking of which, here is Ron DeSantis talking about mandates. This is how every single Republican governor should be talking right now.
Fine, and I think people can certainly weigh in. I would say that Florida is
weigh in. They're going to come out against this hard.
Well, good. Well, I think that Florida is a great place to do business, and you can ask some of these companies, like, would you rather be doing some of the other states that you've had to deal with, or this? And so I think this is going to be something that is going to pass, and I think it's going to be something that is going to be implemented. And at the end of the day, look, if I have to choose between a massive company or individual Floridians who are just trying to put food on the table, I gotta side with the folks.
You'd let a big company go if they wanted to mandate vaccine and
yeah. Well, I don't think you're going to see any of that. I mean, fortunately, Florida's humming. Fortunately, Florida's the place people want to be.
Christina, explain to me why that message is not spoken by every single Republican governor in the country. That makes all the sense in the world. Who hears that I would choose my people over a big company? Who hears that and doesn't like it? That's a no-brainer message, and yet Ron DeSantis seems to be the only one who talks like that.
Right. Well, no, I mean, I'm totally with you. I think it's a winning message. I think, the people elect their leaders, right? And so the leaders have to work for the people. That's very basic. Now, I can't speak for other governors, obviously. I speak for one governor, and I'm very fortunate that that is my boss and that he is really standing up for Floridians, despite all the pressure from all sides, including from both the Biden administration as well as some woke corporations that want to enact these mandates and fire workers for their personal medical decisions, independent of the federal policies, which are unlawful. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know why it seems like he is unique in this. I know, though, that I think, he's led the way on a lot of these anti-mandate and anti-communist policies and has proven to be right. So I do think that hopefully others will follow suit if that's not the case already.
Christina, can you explain to me why a corporation, I mean, I understand you can only guess because this is not your policy. Why would a corporation think so little of its employees that it wants to fire them for this? Because that's really what I see across the country, and it baffles me.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it looks like. Also, obviously, a lot of these corporations, just because of how big the federal government has gotten, a lot of them depend on the federal government for contracts and such, and they don't want to do anything that would get in the way of that. So some of it really is just whether it's the official mandates and orders from the Biden administration or whether it's the threat of those, they just want to comply. Now, others, though, I do think it just, they're so caught up in this woke ideology and on this idea of mandating that they don't even think about not only their own workers, they don't even think about the science behind this or the public health justification, of which there is none. We know that fully vaccinated people can and do get and spread it. So none of this makes sense at all, unless you think that the elites are just so out of touch with everyday people that they don't even care and they're not even trying to understand what's going on.
Christina, look, everybody who follows politics at all knows who Ron DeSantis is now, but I feel like about 15 minutes ago, nobody knew who this guy was outside of the state of Florida. Now, he's been around. Would you give the person who didn't know who he was before a little background on who he is?
Yeah, absolutely. So he is Florida native. He went to Yale on a baseball scholarship. Harvard Law School, became a prosecutor, prosecuted child sex traffickers, pedophiles, put very nasty people in prison. He served our country in the Navy. He was in JAG. And then he ran for Congress, I want to say about 10 years ago. He was elected representing Northeast Florida and was always, hardcore conservative. What I mean by that is, at that time, obviously, Obama was in office, so Congress really had to fight back, and he was one of those fighters. And so I think since he's become governor, he was elected in 2018, very narrowly prevailed over an actual socialist, Andrew Gillum, who has since, kind of collapsed, and Governor DeSantis has just taken off. As you said, he's really become more of a figure in the national consciousness, not just only in Florida. But I think what really did that was his response to COVID, and specifically his willingness to actually lead and make decisions based on the data, based on the facts, and based on what's right for Floridians versus whatever the prevailing communist progressive orthodoxy is.
Is he aware that he is referred to as Heavy D on my TV and radio show?
Oh, I'm sure he's heard the nickname before.
All right. And are there other states? What's that, Christina? I'm sorry.
Sorry, I don't think it's only you who calls him that. Actually, I've heard it before from others, but maybe were you the one who came up with it?
No, I heard it and I just loved it, so now I just run with it now.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks so much for watching The First on YouTube. If you liked what you saw, go ahead and like and subscribe. You heard me. Like it, subscribe. You'll get a lot more of it and a lot more of me.